Did Apple accidentally just leak their October event? Obviously, the September event has wrapped and the iPhone 13 is now real and in our hands, but surprisingly, there's a lot that Apple has built into this phone that gives us a really good idea of what the company is secretly working to launch next. There's a lot of little hidden clues and details here that show us what Apple has plans to launch in the next couple of weeks at their October or November event. So in this video, let me break down the top 5 things that the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro tell us about the future Apple products launching at the next event in the next couple of weeks. This is gonna be a really, really exciting event, and you're not gonna wanna miss any of this. And a huge thanks to Survivor for sponsoring this video. So the iPhone 13 has been out for about a week at this point, and I gotta say, I really am happy with this year's lineup of iPhones. I've had a little bit of time to play with all the models from the 13 mini all the way up to the 13 Pro Max, and the more time I spend with the iPhone 13 and I look at some of the new features, the more I start to think about how Apple could take some of these new features with the display and the camera and the internals and put them into future Apple products. Maybe in the new MacBook Pros coming really soon, maybe some new iPhones coming in the next couple of weeks. There is a lot that the iPhone 13 really does show us about the future Apple products launching very soon, and there's a lot the iPhone 13 has to offer that would make other Apple products even better. For example, let me start first with this 120Hz ProMotion display on the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. And I gotta be honest, I was a skeptic about ProMotion. I had experienced it on the iPad Pro and it was nice, but I really wouldn't call it a game changer. Same for Android phones. I had experienced 120Hz on different flagship Android phones and it was nice and it was speedy, but it was just one of those things you just had to have. I felt like Apple was putting in the iPhone just to sort of check a box and say, hey, we now have 120Hz ProMotion on our phones. But the more time I have spent with ProMotion on the 13 Pro, the more I really like it and the more I think it's a really big deal. And I'm wondering now, as Apple continues to sort of add ProMotion into various other Apple products, what is the next Apple product that could have a 120Hz ProMotion display? Could we see it launch in the upcoming MacBook Pros? Maybe, maybe not. Now, obviously, high refresh rate displays are nothing new. We've seen them on plenty of Windows laptops, past and present, but we haven't seen this in the Apple world at all. Could we see 120Hz or 90Hz even on the new MacBook Pros? We don't really know one way or the other, but if you sort of think about it and speculate for a second, it does make sense for a couple of big reasons. Obviously, first things first, this could do wonders for efficiency and battery life. One of the big draws of ProMotion is not just that it could ramp all the way up to 120Hz, but it can ramp down to a much lower refresh rate in order to save battery. If you're just sort of looking at a static web page or you're watching a 30 frame per second video or a 24 frames per second video, you probably don't need to utilize the full power of the 120Hz display. This has been a big deal and a big selling point on the iPad Pro and on the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. Those have been sort of battery life wonders thanks in part to this ProMotion technology. And if Apple was to sort of bring that over to the new MacBook Pros, the same efficiency and the same sort of battery gains could hopefully be seen on that front as well. But if you're gaming and really want to utilize sort of that high refresh rate goodness, you could do that when needed as well. If you're scrolling through different websites, you're playing games, you could utilize the full power of that display. But when you're not needing the full, again, 120Hz or 60Hz, the machine would automatically dial it back down to be more efficient and in turn save you some battery life. There's also just the inherent advantage that everything just feels faster when the refresh rate has doubled. That's been sort of my big experience and my big personal takeaway on the iPhone 13 Pro is that not that the A15 Bionic feels much more powerful or that the RAM is working overtime, it's deceivingly good what that 120Hz refresh rate can do in terms of making everything feel snappier, faster, turbocharged, and that same experience could translate over really nicely over to the new MacBook Pro models as well. And we have seen Apple bring this technology to mini LED displays on the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. That has ProMotion and a mini LED display. The 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros are also expected to have mini LED displays. So could Apple sort of take the ProMotion technology on the iPad Pro, sort of scale it up and bring it over to the MacBook Pros? Maybe as we get a little bit closer to this event, we hear a answer one way or the other, but for now, I will hold out hope and I'd love to see it. I'm not sure if it's gonna happen, but I'd really love to see 120Hz on the all-new MacBook Pro series. Another big perk of the iPhone 13 series actually lies under the surface, sort of behind the scenes, and that is the A15 Bionic processor. And obviously, this is Apple's latest and greatest mobile silicon. It's the most powerful, most efficient processor that is super battery efficient, but also flies through just about everything. Photo editing, video editing, games. I have yet to find an app or a process that slows this phone down. The A15 is just crazy. Apple Silicon has been obviously really great and really impressive for the past couple of years, and the A15 Bionic is a really great processor. And we have it in the iPhone, we have it in the iPad mini, but what is the next Apple product that could get the really great A15 Bionic from the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro? What else could harness the power of that chip? Probably not the iPad Pro, because that's M1, maybe a new iPad Air, but what about if we see it in another unreleased iPhone that could be launching before the end of the year? According to the rumor mill, the iPhone SE is actually ready to be upgraded. There's going to be a third generation iPhone SE launching potentially in the next couple of weeks before the end of the year, maybe early in 2022, that could be a really exciting upgrade and could get this A15 Bionic processor that lets it do just about anything. Now, the wild theories on this have been sort of crazy. There have been many different theories and rumors about what the iPhone SE 3 could be. Some other theories that are probably a little bit more dependable and probably a little bit more accurate suggest that the iPhone SE is not going to get a major redesign this year, on the surface at least, sticking with the same design as the iPhone 8. So the same Touch ID button on the bottom, the same screen bezels, the same single camera, though under the hood, things will probably get improved. You'd have the A15 Bionic processor, which should give you better battery life. Even if the battery doesn't change at all physically in size, that processor should be not only more powerful, but also more efficient as well. So hopefully some better battery life as well. The camera should get improved, and we should also see 5G support on this iPhone SE 3, making it one of the lowest cost 5G phones you can pick up in 2021 or 2022, and obviously the cheapest 5G phone that Apple sells as of right now. Before we continue, if you're thinking about picking up one of the new iPhone 13 models and you're looking for a way to keep that phone pristine, safe, and secure, then let me tell you about the perfect way to do that, and that is with a protective case from this video's sponsor, Survivor. The Survivor series is known for offering sleek and stylish protection to every inch of your iPhone, and the new lineup is here for the iPhone 13, and it's here to do the same, plus a whole lot more. The all-terrain Earth cases are made with a blend of recycled plastics and other sustainable materials, giving you an eco-friendly case that is also ultra protective against dings, dust, or the O2 common accidental drops. It's designed to meet or exceed military standards. The case also sports an ultra comfortable sort of grippy tactile material on the side that makes it super comfortable to hold in your hands. It's also got an antimicrobial protection that eliminates 99% of surface bacteria and germs, and retains, of course, full support for things like wireless charging, MagSafe, and 5G. I also really appreciate a lot of the little things here, like the ultra responsive buttons that are super easy to click even if you've got gloves on, and the dust resistant covers over things like the mute switch and the charging port on the bottom. The Survivor series also offers endurance, strong, and clear options as well that are all made with recycled plastics and offer excellent protection for your phone. Packed with this raised screen protection to protect those new and improved displays, and of course giving you full access to MagSafe, wireless charging, and 5G connectivity as well. These Survivor cases are an awesome way to keep your phone safe, secured, in pristine condition, and they're available online at Verizon. If you guys want to learn more and pick one up for your new iPhone today, hit that link right down below to learn more. And obviously another move here is for Apple to sort of take what they've learned with the A15 Bionic and sort of what they've done with that chip and continue to scale it up and put that sort of back into the M series chips and make those even better. And that's really the big story here with these new MacBook Pros, is that these should have the M1X chips inside that are going to be much more powerful, but also very efficient than the Intel chips that are currently in the MacBook Pros, or at least the 16-inch MacBook Pro as of right now. Something else I really appreciate here on the iPhone 13 Pro is this, the new camera setup with hardware and software improvements. There is a lot to love about the camera on the iPhone. And if history has sort of taught us anything, something we can sort of take away as a lesson from this 13 Pro is that the camera setup on this phone will most likely come to this very soon. For one reason or another, Apple really loves this idea of allowing people to take great photos and videos on their iPad Pros, whether it's just having a larger viewfinder or just being able to have a great camera with whatever device you have on you. They're making the camera setup on the iPad better and better. And with the iPad Pro specifically, you have two really great cameras plus a LiDAR scanner here that makes this a really versatile little machine here for taking photos and video. And Every time I see someone take a photo or video on their iPad, I just think it looks ridiculous, but you can't argue that the cameras are getting better and better. And I think that Apple is probably going to take the improved ultra-wide lens from the iPhone 13 Pro and bring that over to the newest iPads. You probably can take macro shots with your iPad Pro, which could be nice for a variety of reasons. And I'd also expect things like cinematic video mode and maybe even ProRes video to come to the newest iPad Pro. Now, one of the big disappointments of the iPhone 13 event in September was the lack of an AirPods 3 announcement. Now, iPhones and AirPods seem to always go hand in hand, even though they don't always share stage time, but the September event was where we were finally supposed to see the long-awaited and long-rumored AirPods 3, but that obviously didn't happen. And for one reason or another, they've gotten pushed back time and time again. But right now, all signs point to a launch of them happening at the next Apple event, hopefully sometime in October or November. And the story here with AirPods 3 is very similar to AirPods Pro. They're gonna have a very similar design with these shorter stems, no silicone tips here on the AirPods 3, which is either a good thing or a bad thing depending on how they fit in your ear, and also a very similar battery case to what you have on AirPods Pro as well. You probably won't have Pro End features here, although the design will look the same, so probably no transparency mode here or noise cancellation, though I wouldn't be surprised if Apple brings spatial audio to AirPods 3. Right now, it's just reserved for AirPods Pro and AirPods Max, but as more and more applications sort of take advantage of this spatial audio feature, I wouldn't be surprised to see spatial audio come to AirPods 3. Not sure if it's gonna happen or not, but I'd really like to see that, and I think it does sort of make sense. Also, we're probably expecting here better battery life, better acoustics, and better audio processing. Basically a good upgrade here coming to AirPods 3, something the product kind of needs, and we haven't gotten an AirPods update in a while, so AirPods 3 just sort of seem to make sense, and hopefully are coming very soon. And last but certainly not least, another big part of the next fall Apple event could very well be a new and improved Mac Mini. Now, this would be a higher-end Pro-focused Mac Mini that would actually share the same processor as those new MacBook Pros. So this would probably be an M1X equipped Mac Mini with a bunch of ports on the back, a plethora of I/O for you to choose from, a new design, possibly new colors. There's a lot to love about this new higher-end Mac Mini that we don't have a firm date on when it could launch, but would make sense and could very well launch alongside new MacBook Pros at this next fall Apple event. So what are your thoughts on the next Apple event happening sometime this fall? Do you think we're finally going to see M1X MacBook Pros, maybe a wild card iPhone SE, and AirPods 3 happening or not happening? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you have an iPhone 13, what are your thoughts on this phone? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? And what parts of the iPhone would you like to see come to other Apple products? Like for me, Face ID, love it on the iPhone, and I'd love to see that come to the Mac lineup, but that's probably just gonna be a thing of my dreams for the foreseeable future. But what are your guys' thoughts on all this? What are you most excited to see? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm losing my voice, so I think it's time to stop shouting and to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I will see you all in the next one.